Hey y'all, as some of you may know, I've been writing song lyrics and poems since I was 13 years old. Back then, it was a way for me to be able to talk about things I was dealing with prior and during my adolescence, as I wasn't able to speak to too many people about it. But that's a story for another day. Over the last 5 years, I've been getting more creative by using my imagination when writing, not just with poems and songs, but with now novels and screenplays. Today, I've decided to read you a poem I've written called Gaddess. Not G-O-D, but G-A-D. For me, this was another way for me to be able to tell a story that doesn't necessarily pertain to me, but could be about anyone. I hope you guys enjoy. She lies in bed all alone, falling asleep, waiting for her husband to come home. He attempts to sneak in, but she still awakens. He stops as she asks, "Where have you been? It's 3 in the morning." In his boots he starts shaking, while another lie he's contemplating. She says, "This is the last time. Your stuff is packed and your ride's waiting outside. Never mess with a goddess, for you'll soon regret. Never mess with a goddess, for dire consequences you'll be bound to accept." He steps outside and sees his belongings being loaded into the trunk. He gets in the car thinking of how low he had sunk. He had a good woman and he lost her faster than he earned her. He thought he was being sent to live with his father, but he soon realized he was going farther. "You've passed the house. Where are you going?" The driver doesn't answer and he begins to drive faster. To his end is where he's being taken. Never mess with a goddess, for you'll soon regret. Never mess with a goddess, for dire consequences you'll be bound to accept. He begins to worry as he enters the woods. Why they're there is something he hasn't understood. The driver stops and says, "People like you go here when you treat our women like shit." The husband pleads, "You don't have to do this." Men drag him out of the car and gag his mouth. No one will save him. No one will hear him shout. He is tied, beaten by men and women, then hung to a tree. The soon-to-be widow appears and says, "This is what happens when you continue to hurt someone like me." The shock remains in his eyes as he stops squirming and dies. Never mess with a goddess, for you'll soon regret. Never mess with a goddess, for dire consequences you'll be bound to accept. They laid him on top of his clothes. She lit the match and watched him burn slow. Eternal misery is what awaits him. Real love will never embrace him. He will only know pain, never to be blessed. He will never have peace, not even in death. Never mess with a goddess, for you'll soon regret. Never mess with a goddess, for dire consequences you'll be bound to accept. The moral of this story: be good to those who genuinely like and love you. Otherwise, you'll be the one that will suffer the most in the end. I hope you guys enjoyed. Peace and love.